Welcome to the Wing Life Podcast, where we talk about wing foiling and the lifestyles of those who enjoy this great sport.
We managed all right. It's not too bad.
Oh, it's the same thing here. I finally found this year some mitts that were a little bit more feasible. Like they're pre-curved, they're a little bit thinner. They're 3 mil, but I had a really good wetsuit, like a 6.5, 6.5 from, I can't remember the name of the brand right now.
That's a big wetsuit though, isn't it? 6.5. It's like a a Michelin suit, isn't it? When you wear them, there's a lot of neoprene, isn't it?
This one, I'm completely blanking on the name though, but it was super, super good. Here, let me look it up. 6.5. I was from, what's that other company? Anyways, doesn't matter. But yeah, like that's mitts are freaking tough, man. Your hands die, whatever. It's not that fun. It's not that fun.
I got a new one though. Like wear a neoprene beanie under your helmet, thermal like rash vest, one of those polypropylene ones, you know, the fluffy ones. It's not like neoprene. It's just it's like a sort of like we call them here like polypropylene. So it's not a wool. It's a plastic wool that doesn't absorb water. And I reckon with that on, with the neoprene beanie with the helmet over the top, because there's not a lot of heat loss going out of your body, so your body's got enough heat to send it to your hands. And I've been sort of, this year it's the first time I've done that, and this year it seems to work all right. You know, it's my new tactic of stopping the chill blade. So.
I got an Excel 6.5 dry lock. That's what it was. The new Excel dry locks are insane. Like I would almost be dry coming out. But yeah. So you guys are based out of England? So
we're in the southwest. Yeah. How about yourself? Whereabouts are you guys?
So Frank and Matthias are in Germany. I think they're both near Frankfurt. And myself, I'm out of Ottawa right now in Canada, but then I spend my summers on Vancouver Island. So we kind of bounce between both spots. My mom lives out here. My brother lives out west. So we chase wind and do our kiting and windsurfing, winging thing out west in the summertime. So it's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Near the gorge too.
I see the starboard in the background there, eh?
Yeah, that's my buddy's 70. What size is there? I think it's a 74-liter quad or something.
It's not the old it's not the evil twin, is it, or something like because they made that like funny back to front quad at one point, didn't they? Starboard.
It's called the quad. This one's the Quad IQ.
Okay, right, yeah.
Sarah Kita was like, "Is that the code?" I was like, "No, that's the." I don't know, but yeah, it's I think I've ridden it once in like 25 to 30 on the Great Lakes, and it was super fun. Yeah, it's just longer. It's a bit of a longer board, but I don't know.
I think that's where like they're thinking it's the code, because the code was that was a weapon. The code, Christ, that was what was that? That's like 18 years ago, I reckon. The code. And it had the blue outline with the same sort of graphics on the side there, and it was good. It was like a freestyle bump and jump kind of board, and it's in that like trend setting stage where they went into the bump and jump and all that, and. I was working in Greece, and that's how I know it, because everybody wanted to get on that board at the time. So,
oh, nice! What were you doing out in Greece?
I was working just as a windsurfing and dinghy sailing instructor for
cool,
like one of the holiday companies out of England. So yeah, it's good fun, eh? Like 20 years old, young, free, single, no kids. You know what it's like.
Commitment free and instructing with a 6-pack on the beach.
I think we got paid £90 a week, but we didn't get £90. We got £50, and they kept £40, and you only got the £40 if you finished your contract. Yeah. So I reckon the tactic from the management was to sort of get you in so much trouble in the last 2 weeks of your contract that you'd be too naughty, and then they would take the whole retainer away, which was your £40 a week, which you'd been earning and saving up, and and then you'd lose your retainer, like 1,500 quid or something, and you had to pay for your flight back as well. Just terrible. Slave labor, unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty
Have you
much. And
done
then
any
you
of that?
yeah, I've taught. So I helped create the wing foiling program for 2 schools on Vancouver Island. I kind of got hired there. They didn't know a ton about winging, and I had been doing it for a season or two. So I was teaching there, and I still do. I still contract myself out every once in a while whenever I have a bit of time. But super fun. Kind of, there are 2 beautiful inlets. So one is at China Creek, which we've talked about. Other one's at Nitnat Lake. So kind of one is more of a fishing village, but the other one's in old growth rainforest. And it's a long, long lake. So you get thermals every day. Wind is like 20 to 20 and a half knots or 25 to 25 and a half. It's consistent all day. Um, yeah, like it gets, well, let's say 18 to 25 maximum, I think. But it's such an amazing place to learn. So if anybody hasn't been out to the west coast of like Canada up north there, I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's bump and jump, but it's so cool to like be in like a 6-foot old growth kind of rainforest and sleep amongst those giants, and then just stick your head out when the wind line comes in because there's a thermal. It's so special. My brother and I kind of learned our sports there. So, but what about where you guys are at? Like, obviously, ocean's coldish, right?
Yeah, not too bad. Like it's, I think it kind of bottoms out at about 9 degrees, that sort of thing. Yeah, so yeah, it's not Baltic. We're lucky because we're sort of in the southwest of England, so it's we're on the south coast, so we've sort of English Channel more than Atlantic Ocean. But it doesn't. Like it's more air temperature that kills you rather than sea temperature. If if the wind's coming from like a cold direction, like the east, and at this time of year, then it's cold. But if it's the southwesterly, it's like 12 degrees, 10 degrees, that sort of thing. Air temperature, that's manageable, isn't it? It's not
8 to
it's not
10
too
air.
bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Like below that starts to get nipply. The new suit helped this year. I think I was in 6-degree air and 5-degree water or something. My feet froze, but my hands were good and my body was good. So like I know the new suit's coming out, but that's starting to get a bit. We were in a safe spot. Like I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for people to go out in crazy ocean stuff where you could get swept and it's that cold, because you get hypothermic pretty fast if something bad happens. But when did you start with the whole windsurf wind thing?
Like the windsurf wing, so it's windsurfing was like the first thing, or still is. Um, Windsurfing. So I'm 38 now. I think I was about 8 years old, that sort of thing.
Oh
Um,
shit, man, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. I was super lucky. Just went out on like a little lake on a holiday. From memory it was a lake on a holiday in France, and they only had old school rigs and everything, as you can imagine. And I wasn't strong enough to actually lift the sail up out the water. But I managed to work out a way that you could hold the uphaul, keep the clue in the water, and you could kind of just drag yourself across the lake, and then you sort of fall off
Oh
and
yeah, I've seen
do the
that before.
same thing the other way. Yeah, and it was super old kind of gear, and that was cool. And then we got when I got home, we kind of did a little bit more windsurfing um, and yeah, I mean, it's cool, isn't it? Windsurfing's cool, and wind sports are super cool. And
Yeah,
once you get bitten by it, that's it. I think if you're lucky enough to be able to continue doing it, because I'm sure, like most windsurfers, like every windsurfer will confess to get, you're stood on a windsurfing board, and you look back at where the foot straps are, and you're like, there's no chance I'm getting back there. You're having a
yeah.
laugh, aren't you? What aren't they sort of in the middle where the mast is meeting the board? What are they doing all the way back there? And then slowly, you kind of work your way back, don't you? So,
Yeah, it took me. I think my first season in Ottawa, I was on a 12-foot long Bic kind of windsurf board with old cambered sails that weighed like a ton. And as soon as I would get going fast, it would shoot right upwind because I was on the inside rail and pretty far back on the board, and I did not understand. And then I was blown away at how fast it was. I had never gone, like, as soon as I switched to a Bic 145 Techno or something, I was blown away at how fast it was. And then
the blue one with the sandwich seam sort of style. It was they did the big techno, the blue deck one.
it was a big, oh, this one might have been yellow or something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like I would just, as soon as I would get into the straps, it would go straight upwind, and I would get so frustrated. And I asked everybody, and like, I don't know, kid, I don't know what you're doing wrong. Like, figure it out. But I got hooked so fast. Once you're hooked, it's I don't know. I think it's a combination of like this kind of spiritual sort of connection with the water and nature, and then there's also this freedom that you feel from like snowboarding and skiing and getting propelled, and there's so much stuff to pick up on the water, right? There's so much stuff for your brain to pick up with, because every single time, every single second, you got a million things to focus on, which I think is great because it helps me kind of zone right in and focus and slow down, because I'm getting fully activated from all these different sensory things. And then there's the fun and everything. What were your first kind of memories of that kind of process of falling in love with that sport?
Yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what you say. You know, it's such a, like when you're doing it, it's so dynamic, and never one day is really the same. Even in a flat water spot, you kind of catch that gust of wind, or you hit that little bit of chop, and everything is behaving differently. But I do remember, like, I remember going to Portland, which is the local sort of harbour here, which is where they did the Olympics, when it was in England for the sailing. It's a super windy spot, sticks out the south coast, big kind of enclosed harbour, clean window, and I remember like absolutely pelting it across there, or what felt like I was pelting it across there, and thinking, like, some kids want to go to theme parks, some kids want to go and watch sport, some kids are at home playing PlayStation, and here I am on the water, like getting probably catapulted straight afterwards, or hit the sandbar or something, I don't know. But yeah, it's just that feeling is just like it's uncomparable to anything really, I think, because wind sports are cool, aren't they?
Yeah, kind of pretty much love that. Did you anticipate the creation of wing foiling, and did you anticipate anything new like that coming down the pipe, or did you think we were just going to be stoked kiting and windsurfing till we got to be 90?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I think that question is kind of a little bit like asking the guys that do America's Cup, did they anticipate seeing monohulls foiling? Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody saw that coming. Yeah, like just impossible. And I know foiling's been around for a long time, but like, did I think, like, at 28 years old, that in 10 years time wing foiling would be this kind of new crazy sport? Probably not. It's been there, hasn't it? It's always been in the background. Foiling's not a new thing, but it's never been what it is now. It's not never been commercially what it is now, but also just like the practicalities of it are crazy. Like when you think about foiling, and you look at like windsurfing, you get it. It's tangible. You stand on a board, you have a sail in your hand, you go forward. Kite surfing is also semi-tangible in that respect. You know, you got a kite, you got a board, you go forward. Foiling, it looks like you're balancing on a medicine ball all of a sudden, but and it doesn't look feasible. But then when you're actually doing it, it's probably easier than kite surfing and windsurfing to learn, hands down, I reckon. And we're in this like epic phase now where we've got this new sport and everybody's doing crazy stuff, but it's really achievable. Well, it's not achievable to do the crazy stuff, but it's completely achievable to go down to your lake or your local beach and stand on a board and get foiling within 2-3 hours, which like, yeah, if you'd asked me that 10 years ago, I would have gone, no way. Do you know what I mean?
That's very true. That's very true. Yeah, like windsurfing, you got to earn it a lot. Well, I think it's foiling still difficult. I still had clients that took them a season or two or even 3 to kind of get going a little bit more comfortable based on skill. But I think the potential and possibilities of this, and then traveling, like we're going to jump into your foil board company there, because you guys got some pretty cool bags, and I'd like to learn more about how you guys got that started, because there's some right now, like even at, for example, our home spot on the island at Nitnat, we're parking and you got to we're parking and you got to walk through the woods. Depends where you park. Like you could go, I don't know, 500 meters. You can go a kilometer. You can go shorter, but you end up carrying your foil on your shoulder. Obviously, foil facing forward kind of thing. Mast on your shoulder kind of digs into you. It's the easiest way to carry it that I find, unless you hold the handle and then you got to dodge trees and obstacles and whatnot, or you put the whole thing on your head. But I just saw this cool balls bag that I'd love to get into in a bit. But how did it go from instructing to then the creation of FBC?
Well, yeah, that's good question, and an answer I'm not really sure how it got there. To be honest, like most of everybody who does this stuff. No, I was like lucky. I went to uni and studied business and accounting for my sins. But what that allowed me to do was spend loads of time windsurfing and mainly windsurfing. And in England, I was in the Exeter Uni in the southwest, and I was windsurfing with a guy called Andy King. I don't know if you know Andy King. Has he sprung across your sort of radar at all? So Andy's. I hope he'll listen to this, but Andy's one of the best UK windsurfers in my mind, and probably lots of other people in England that's ever been. And he's probably the UK windsurfer that didn't do the PWA, but would have done, should have done, and probably would have done very well with it. At the time, he was working for Goya and Quattro, for the importer in England, and he's a bit older than me. He got to that age where he was a pro windsurfer, not really earning too much money, I don't suppose, and like all pro windsurfers, and he got a job with the police force. So once that happened, his role in Goya and Quattro was vacant. He phoned me up and said, "Look, would I like to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, perfect." So I sort of took on his role for Goya and Quattro for the importer in England, which was a company called Zero Gravity. A guy called Rick Finlow was running that. And that was it really. So like Rick kind of almost passed me the keys. He's just like, right, sort that out, Murray. Run the import business for this. And I was 24 or something, I think, and we were doing a lot. We were doing like Goya, Quattro, Amex, Masts and Booms, Pat Love bags at the time. We did a couple of other brands. MFC for the fins. And that was really cool, and super enjoyed it. Spent a lot of time understanding how the business works. Spent a lot of time talking to the factories and the producers and the guys from Goya and Quattro as well. Like I think you've done Keith de Bull on this as well. So we worked with him. Super nice guys, all of them super great. So I learned a lot in that period of time, which was fun. And then I was windsurfing with a good mate of mine, now a business partner, Steve Thorpe. And Steve got these fins out the back of his car and was like, and I was like, what are those? And I think we were down at Senham, right at the end of England, right on the tip of Land's End, it's called. So right on the southwest tip of England, quite a good wave spot. And he's like, I was just been making these fins, like, I don't know if they're any good. And we all tried them and came off the water for windsurfing, obviously. And we were like, wow, Steve, these are really good. And Steve was like, you think? I don't know. I said, well, what are you going to do with them? And he goes, I haven't really got any plans. I said, well, look, I reckon I could sell them to the shops. They're cheaper than sort of the G10 fins that are being made, because G10s are expensive. And I said, I actually think they're as good, if not better. And Steve was like, oh. So we started off with K4.
Come on.
And then, yeah. And then
man, I love those fins.
Yeah, they're good, huh? They're really good. And the fins just got bigger and bigger. And then Graham Ezzy got involved. So we sort of did a Graham Ezzy series. And yeah, it was cool. And that is literally, we started in a shoebox. So we had a shoebox of fins. That was it. And now we've got a warehouse full of, I don't know, thousands of fins. And and yeah, it's super, like something that I was super pleased of. I mean, this is like the next generation. So I stopped working for the import business with Goya and Quattro just so I can focus on K4 and sort of take that to the next level, if you like, doing global distribution for that. And yeah, we've had like PWA riders on the podium with those fins and everything. So, and then the fins were doing really well, and then we had COVID, and COVID I think kicked off sort of in the spring here in England anyway, or early spring, and the shops just all went like that's it, cancelled all their pre-orders, and I was just like, oh my word, that's it, like the world's going to end. And and we've been I'd had Bulls Muller on our radar for sponsoring for freestyle because I think he's super interesting dude, and windsurfing wise, he was making epic videos that were really interesting. They're fun. They were just down to earth, good fun videos, a bit like the old Jason Pollock videos and stuff like that. Just ripping with rock music and all this. And so anyway, so he was on the radar, and then I saw Enzis, the wingfoiling brand that he was doing, and I said to my wife, I was like, I'm going to order one of those. I'm going to get in touch with Carl. Carl, you've spoken to Carl. I listened to that podcast, Carl Muller from Enzis, and he was really hard to get hold of. And I thought, this is a good sign. Like, the guy's busy, which is always a good sign. When you can't get hold of somebody, it's normally a good thing. Yeah. And then I said to Carl, I was like, send me a wing. Like, I'm in England. We can import this stuff for you. Send me one. So he sent one down. I couldn't wing foil at all. And I pumped it up in the garden. And I sort of looked at it and was like, this looks likely. Like, we hadn't really seen wing foiling, certainly at my local beach at all. And I was like, this is likely. I reckon this is going to work. And then from then on, like, it was COVID, so everything was looking bad. So might as well make a bad situation worse. So I ordered like a factory order of wings from Enzis, and then the wing foiling thing just went, as you know, sort of up through the roof, and that's what got us into wing foiling. And then to answer your question in a long way around, we, like, having sort of had the sort of distribution network from the fins, the experience from the Goya Quattro days of the industry, and then the sort of experience and knowledge from Enzis, we then launched FBC, because certainly in the UK, but I think globally, there's a big demand for accessory products that are good accessory products, and I wouldn't be too. I would be careful to say that there's a lot of brands making accessory products, but the products that they're making is to tick a box rather than to completely highlight it and make a product that's been specifically designed for that purpose. Like, I think there's brands that sort of go, oh, we need an ankle leash. Boom, ankle leash factory, ankle leash, make us one. Whereas we've tried to not do that. We've tried to do almost the opposite of, like, we want an ankle leash. What does that ankle leash need to do? And the amount of time that we're spending on that ankle leash, making it perfect for wing foiling or for foiling, that's our goal. Do you see what I mean? And that's where FBC came about. Like, let's not just make a travel bag, which is a small windsurf travel bag that you can put wing foiling gear in. Like, let's make a wing foiling travel bag. And yeah, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're gonna keep on trying to do.
Oh, awesome! Go back to K4. Like, I still use. I think I have a 20 centimeter fin that I use for my tri setup. I have a Fanatic like 83 liter that I got a couple of years ago. The grip, and you can set it up as a tri or a quad. And I'm running a K4 in the center. And I love it. It's super sick. So anyways, pretty amazing that that connection was made. And so coming into travel bags, like, what makes a good foil board travel bag? Because I've seen some, and there's a plethora of different questions plus things that are important. So I thought I'd start off with there.
Well, it's a good one. I mean, like yourself, having been a being a windsurfer, I'm a windsurfer. Traveling windsurfing gear sucks. Like it's heavy. I mean, I got absolutely sort of mashed with excess baggage charges in the past for windsurfing gear, and so when we were looking at I went traveling to Fuerteventura with some friends, and I took a wing foiling bag, and I couldn't really find a decent travel bag for wing foiling, so I smashed it in a sup bag and like taped the ends up and everything. And I remember pushing it through the airport. I was like, oh my word, this is so easy. You can go through the doors with the board like either widthways or heightways because it will go through them. Yeah. Whereas with windsurfing, you couldn't go through it with it on its width on the trolley because it's too wide. It was too high if you tried to do it vertically, so you had to sort of drag it through. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling. And I was like, right, we need to make a bag that's just going to be epic for wing foiling. And wing foiling's not really too heavy either. I think what a lot of people don't realize with traveling is a bag weighs what you put in it. So, if you put in 8 wings and 3 foils and 2 boards, it's going to weigh a lot. But really, when you go traveling, in my mind, you need 1 board, 3 wings, and a foil with maybe 2 front wings if you're going to be picky. So we set about making a bag that was going to maximize the utility of traveling, where it's got what you want to take in it, and you're not paying for a big plastic sheet of wheels in the back of it or anything like that. Like, let's pay to take the gear that we want to take on holiday rather than the gear plus the bag plus the wheels plus everything else. And that's where it all came about. So our bag there's two criteria to designing it, which was making it as light as possible and also affordable, because like travel bags, you can make them out of Kevlar and they still get bashed and wrecked and everything by the guys in the airport. So, you don't want to make a bag that's sort of 350, 400 euros, because it's quite a lot of money when somebody's just going to drag it along the tarmac and throw it into the hold of a plane. So we wanted to make it affordable, but light, but obviously super padded for traveling as well. Which we did. We did 10mm foam padding on all of ours. It's got a foil leaf with special compartments for front wing stabilizers, masts, fuselages. You can take that out as well. And on the version 1 travel bag, we didn't put wheels on it because, in my mind, I couldn't find a solution to make a weight-saving wheeled bag other than doing what everybody does, which is have a big molded piece of plastic in the back with 2 wheels stuck on it, and you just sew it into the bag. But they weighed 4 kilos or something. So your weight allowance for a plane is 32 if you're flying with EasyJet, and over 10% of that weight is taken up by your wheels. It's like, I want to take a extra wing or something like that, for that.
Yeah, so like that, and convert that into pound, like 10 pounds your bag would weigh, and then you got a 50-pound limit. So yeah, like you got not most of it, but you got a good chunk of it taken up by just the wheels. Because that actually was the question that I was just asking around to people. Is it worth having the wheels for ease of use, or is it worth saving the weight to bring more stuff?
So, yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the question that we've internally been asking ourselves here. And I think I showed you our new version 2, which is the sort of evolution of our travel bag now, which has got the trolley wheels that you can put into the foils, like the sleeve on the bottom of the bag. So you're totally right. Like, how do we conquer that? What do we want? Do we want the ease of use of being able to drag it through an airport on wheels, or do we want to take, that 3.5 meter wing, or that 2.8 meter wing, or the 6 meter wing, whatever it is, to make sure that when we go on holiday, we get out as much as possible. So the version 2 of our travel bag, which we're just releasing sort of now, has got an extendable trolley, much like you get with your suitcase, with the sort of where you push the button in and the whole thing sort of goes with the arm.
Okay.
And you slide that into the base of the bag. It's got a Velcro system which goes around the handle of that. that means that you can use it as a wheeled trolley. So you wheel it up to the check-in desk, and when you get to the check-in desk, it takes about 20 seconds. You undo the Velcro, take the trolley out. It then folds down to an A4 piece of paper size, sort of, I don't know, couple of inches thick, that sort of thing. It weighs 1.2 kilos, but you can then chuck that trolley in your hand luggage, in your rucksack. But what it means is that bag is weighing what that bag should weigh. It's a bag with your gear in. Hopefully you're getting maximum utility on your weight that you've got. And you're not paying for 4 kilos, or 12-15% of it isn't being taken up by this big plastic sheet that's just stuck in the bottom of the bag, doing not a lot. So
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. And what do you think about compartments and whatnot inside? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's easier for people to just pack their foils in the original gear bag that they have and just put it on top of their board and put their wings around it for padding? Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I mean, I'm always about, when you're packing your board and your wings, for me, it's about making sure that what you're putting there is protected as much as possible, especially the foil, because they're really expensive and they're actually not very easy to fix either. If you take a wingtip off a foil, if you dink your board, you can fix that, but take a wingtip off a foil or something, it's hard work to fix. So I would say, like, in my world, we designed a foil leaf, so the board goes in the bag, the foil leaf goes on top, and then in that foil leaf, it's got padded compartments, one for the front wing, one for the mast, and that works well because the foil bag, which you might get with your foil, is more like a kind of gun bag or something in its shape, isn't it? It's kind of rectangular and chunky, and that doesn't really fit in the traveling scene so easily. Whereas ours, it sort of sits on the deck of the board in this padded leaf, and then you can just put your 3 wings on top of it, 3 or 4 wings on top of that, and it all sort of zips down, compacts down, and what you're left with is quite a nice kind of coffin board-shaped bag. And the wings are protecting the foil because they're on top of it. The board's obviously underneath it, so that protects the foil as well. There's 10 mil padding around the whole thing, so that protects the board. And we also designed it so that it's easy for the guys in the airport to carry the board as well, because I don't know how. I mean, you've seen the pictures of people at airports when they're looking out the windows seeing matey just launch it. But you kind of get it, because they look at the board and they go, how am I going to carry that? There's one handle on the rail, which this board weighs 30 kilos. How am I going to pick that board up with one hand? Not going to happen. And there's one handle on the tail and the nose. And they think, well, that's a good handle just to like drag it and launch it across the runway, as they do. Yep. So when we designed ours, we kind of thought, well, how are we going to make this look like achievable for the average person to lift? Because we might do it with kid gloves when we're putting it on, onto the conveyor belt to go into the when the doors shut down on the oversized baggage. You're like, oh, it's probably the last time I'm going to see that, isn't it? But yeah, we thought that, so we put like 3 handles on the rail so you can pick it up with 2 hands, because it sounds stupid, but like I said, for your guy in the airport, if he sees 2 handles on the rail, he grabs it with 2 hands, and then he can maneuver it.
Valid point. Yeah, you're making it easier for him to not trash our stuff, which is well thought out, to be honest. Because if he gets frustrated, it's over. He's just going to chuck it.
He's going to drag it. He's going to chuck it. And he's going to resent it for the rest of his life, isn't he? Like, he doesn't care about surfing, does he? He's just, he's paid to get these bags off, and he needs to do it as quick as possible. And then he's got this 30 kilo of just anger and agony looking at him, and he's like, right, that's it. You're having it. I've had an argument with the missus. I'm late for the kids to pick them up. This bag's coming out one way.
Yeah, that's true. Then we get to cry afterwards as it was our vintage board that just got smashed.
I know,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So specific handles, you got good compartments inside. Do you think 10 mil is enough padding? Like I was always curious to see whether or not they would be like battens for reinforcement or battens around the outside of the board bag to keep it so you can't get it squished as much. Like, has there been any of that kind of consideration for squish prevention kind of thing?
Yeah, so we sort of thought about it. We did make a prototype board bag which had this kind of like carbon almost rails. So it was like a solid board bag, or at least solid railed board bag. But I think the reality of what we found from experience and testing it and traveling with it ourselves, the 10 mil seems to be fine. I think if it's going to get bashed, it's going to get bashed. You know, like I think that's it. What you need to try and mitigate is just the little knocks. You know, the knock it against this. You know, like I was saying, it's been picked up and it's been chucked onto the trolley and it's taken a knock there and a knock here. I mean, somebody's going to drop it from 10 foot, it's going to get dented. And it's how far do you go with that? Because much like what I was saying before, is we could make a bulletproof travel bag, but it will be £2,000, $2,000. So it's a compromise of affordability versus that utility that you get from the product. And I think with the 10 mil is a good size. You know, it's still lightweight. I've traveled a lot with ours, and I test it hard. Like, I'm that one who's just launching it across the place to see if I can dent it and see what happens. And touch wood, so far I haven't had a stress. So 10 mil seems to be a good. 10 mil is a good number. Is it? Yeah, you've got to remember everything that you add to it makes it heavier. So
yeah, that's a valid point. Okay. Zippers, because that's often a bone of contention. I find that a cheap day bag, the zippers are crap. They seize. Like, what were your thoughts on coming up with zippers that'll work through salt, that'll work through a variety of different kind of conditions in that sense over time, right?
right, yeah, and I kind of had quite a bit of experience with zippers with you know, when I was working with the bag company before. Um, we spent quite a bit of time looking at different zip options, and the zip that we chose was, again, it was like a balance between affordability, and how hard it was to zip up, how much pressure you could put on it, whether it would sort of just pull open or not, that sort of thing. Um, Sort of going back and touching back, I think it's not just the zipper that you're looking at. You're also looking at how, on a bag, how you design the bag. So like the travel bag's got compression straps, which you can adjust on both, like the left and right hand side of the bag. And again, if you've got good compression straps, you can tighten those up, which relieves the pressure on the zip. So it sometimes there's two ways to skin a cat. You could put a zip on there that's really hardcore, super expensive, or you can look at where that zip's going to fail, how it's going to fail, and try and do something to prevent that from happening in the first place. Do you see what I mean?
So that's what those board straps inside are for, is to actually attach the board more to the bag so it's less pressure on the zipper?
Yeah, so we've got the internal straps, which we can strap the board down, but you can also take those internal straps around the board and the foil leaf, so it squashes the whole thing down, just stops it from like moving. Like, it's the bashing aspect of traveling. But on the external side as well, we've got sort of two tie down straps, sort of just forward and aft of the middle of the board. And again, we can use those to tighten down the bag, which actually just takes all the pressure off the zip.
Off the zipper. You're right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think sometimes when you're kind of looking at things, you can over-engineer one part, or you can think about the bigger picture and come up with a solution where, you know, you don't need to go too heavy on this or too heavy on that, but they combine those factors together and they'll offer a solution, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I like that, because everybody's traveling now, and I've seen this question kind of pop up a ton. It's like, yeah, where do we go? What's the best one to get? Price versus weight. Is my stuff going to be safe? So, like, we've covered kind of a lot of those basic questions. And even packing, you're saying that is it's obviously smart to put stuff in the front of your tail. There were some guys who were saying they were using cardboard and folding it in half and putting that over the tail. And then the nose, so you could kind of create your lightweight kind of compression sort of prevention and putting everything else in there. Have you found anything that you could add that's fairly light to add just a little bit level of security? If he's going to toss it from 20 feet, I don't think it's going to matter. But I like your thoughts about the handles, given the fact that you have to make it their job as easy as possible. And if their job's easy, they're more likely to have to like handle it a little. It's going to be easier for them, yeah, which good
And
thought.
I think also sometimes there's like we could make something that could go around the nose and that could go around the tail, but then you're just kind of charging people for something that they can do themselves just as easily, or if probably not better. So like when I go traveling, I get a changing towel, with the hood and everything, and with a like a 60-liter board, wing foiling board, the changing towel is about the same length as that. So I just insert the board up the changing towel, the hood kind of wrap it around the nose, and then so it's almost like a board sock. But you've got the added advantage that then you've got a towel and you get wherever you go. So yeah, sometimes I think I'll tell you one of the things I used to do with windsurfing was I'd get a towel, I'd put them strategically around the board, and then I'd get cling film and just wrap the cling film around the board. Cling film weighs nothing, but it keeps the towels like on the rails, it keeps the towels on the nose, or your clothes or whatever. Just put them where you want them, on the deck, on the hull, cling film them on around the whole thing. Done. Cling film's cheap, isn't it? So that always worked well.
Oh, that makes sense. What kind of materials and stuff did you guys go through? Because you got, I guess, a couple different factors, a little bit of breathability. Like you mentioned a little bit about some like your stuff's soaked, so you have to keep the bag open, like all those kind of questions.
Yeah, so it's difficult, isn't it? Because materials are often quite heavy. So for the travel bag, we use 1680D nylon, which is it's pretty widely used. It's a strong, tough nylon. It can take being dragged on the floor. It's not too heavy. That was about as heavy as we were prepared to go. Because again, go back to that weight limit thing that's always on your mind. On the day bag, we use 600D nylon, which is a good one. We've got like a water resistant or water repellent material on the day bag as well, which works well. Because if you're at the beach, like I go to the beach, take it in the day bag, I shut the bag on the beach, leave it there, and if it rains, you don't really want that bag just to be completely soaked. So we've got the tarp lining on the bottom that doesn't absorb the water. Got the sort of water resistant top. And yeah, it's a consideration. Obviously, the materials that you use, you're always thinking about them. But a lot of them are tried and tested and proven, for their weight versus their sort of ability to withstand the scraps and scrapes that they get.
Yeah, that's fair. I saw your day bag, like the balls bag. That thing looks sick because, like I was mentioning a little bit before, that if I'm walking like half a kilometer to the beach or something, having that would be phenomenal. So, where did that kind
Yeah.
of was that kind of a natural evolution of like, oh, it would be smart to just make it a backpack?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? The backpack thing. So we set off to make a bag which you can like carry a board on your back. Then, so it's a tough one to do. It seems really easy. Let's just make it so that you strap it to your back, but it's not that easy because you've got the zipper, you've got the foil cut out as well, and you've got the different length of board. And what we kind of worked out is that you have to have the board nose pointing down for it to work for a start, because you've got the zipper. If you do it the other way, so if you do it tail down, it you can't put the mounting point low enough to stop it from hitting your heels. Whereas you flip it the other way, so it's nose down. The mounting point, particularly on like the bigger boards, has to be quite close to the nose. So there's a magic number between where the nose is and the sort of bottom mounting point for your shoulder straps is, and that distance is actually the same on all the bags, whether it's an extra small 50-litre board bag or the large 120-litre board bag. It's just, of course, it then sticks above your head more. But then the problem is you can't really have the foil on it, because if you've got the foil which sticks out, 80, 85 centimeters at the end of the mast, it's got quite a lot of leverage, got quite a lot of weight. It just puts a lot of stress and strain on the bag. And there's a kill radius, which, so if you've got it on your back with the foil sticking out, and somebody goes, "Murray, you've left your car unlocked," you turn around and go, "What?" And then it's like your foil's over here just killing people. So yeah, it works great if you haven't got the foil on. So then it's cool, but you then have to carry the foil. So it's something that we're still working on. I don't think there's necessarily a solution to carry board and foil because of just everything. But if you want to carry your board on your back and take it down to the beach and have your foil, maybe you build your foil or you just have it in your hands, and that works. Yeah, something that we're working on.
I think if you can, what do you think? Like the key point here would be strapping the board to the inside of the bag, for example. So the weight was more on that inner piece with the straps on it. And then you would just end up zipping, like there would have to be less weight on the zipper, right? Is that what you're kind of going with?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, to some extent. I mean, the zipper can handle it. There's no stress. It's just the it's the sort of technicality of having a big square block at the back of your legs, and we tested it both ways, but it just worked better if the board was pointing down. But even if it was the other way around, and the board was pointing upwards, you'd still have the foil, which would be sticking out by the back of your calves, and it's just a tricky one, that one. But it's cool. I think we'll carry on working. We've come up with a solution which allows you to carry the board, which is cool, and that works. And with the foil, I'm not sure from a health and safety perspective, it's completely doable either.
I'm gonna wait for it because I want that thing to walk down the hill or walk down the other spots, and I don't care as much about people because it's just trees. But it's more so it would be a godsend to do. I guess right now I throw one on my shoulder and I carry one in my hand, and I got my wing strapped to my chest or something awkward, and I can normally do it in one trip, but then the weight starts to add up. But anyways, keep us appraised about this one, because it would be pretty sweet to have.
Yeah, no, we're still, it's on the list. It's on the list. It's we worked pretty hard on it, trying to get it sorted in the first place. And like I said, it works great if you just carry the board. So it's a good bag though. It's a really good bag. As a day bag goes, it's got everything. Like the carrying it on your back is sort of just 1/10 of what it offers, if you know what I mean, because it's got pockets for boots and gloves and towels, and it's got tool pocket, and it's got a breather vent. It's a good bag. It's a good bit of gear, that one.
Yeah. So what else goes into that then for me to know and others to know?
As in what else goes into the bag? Like how else can it be used?
Like what else did you think of when you were designing that? Which is we're curious about, because you can just think of it, it's just like whatever, but there's a lot of thought that goes into designing something like this, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to make a bag that I would be, so like right now, England winter, you take your neoprene hat, you take your boots, your gloves, you might take your dry robe or your changing towel, whatever. And I've got to walk to the beach, much the same as what you were saying for yourself. And when I get to the beach, it's all very well just to chuck it down all your gear down on the beach, but then it will get sandy, and maybe you don't wear the gloves because you decided it's actually a bit warmer than you thought, or whatever. So we built in this big mesh pocket into the tail of the bag so that you can stick your gloves and hat and changing towel into that area, which was cool because then it keeps everything in one place, and it's got a tool pocket so you put all your Allen keys and stuff. That's on the near the middle on the handle on the top side of the bag. But we also, on that bag, we also decided to do a carry handle on the nose and the tail as well, much like you get on the travel bags. Just because when, like for me, if I'm in the van, I can grab it on the tail, I can just pull it out. It makes it easier to use. And also, if you're in your garage, you can hang it up from the carry handles on the nose or the tail, so that's cool. And then we also put in a breather vent as well, because I don't know if you guys had it so much. Certainly in England, there was a big when wing boys were first sort of coming out, sort of big production style. A lot of brands were getting osmosis on the paint where it just starts bubbling. Did you get any of that? Did you see any of that? Yeah, so that was a bit of a problem, and so the idea is that this valve, it's quite big. It's like 15 centimeters diameter, round perforated valve, and that allows airflow in the board. So if your board's wet and you leave it in a warmish place like your garage or something for a while, it allows the moisture to evaporate out the bag and hopefully would stop that from happening. So
yeah, okay, because I just saw a bag with that and I didn't know what that was for. So okay, interesting. All right. So what do you think the future of bag development? Do you think there's anything, the holy grail of bags that you think you would want to have or that you're thinking about creating that's not under the hat?
Yeah, so like right now we're going to the Downwind bag market. That's on the hit list. It's a tricky one because like I've got a few Downwind boards here at the moment, which we're sort of looking at. One's an Axis 100, off the top of my head, it's 110 liters or something. It's 6'3", 24 inches wide, and I can't remember how thick it is. So you've kind of got that board, and then I've got an Enzis Waltz, which is 7 foot long, 20 inches wide. So then you've got some other boards, like I think some of the other brands are making, going down the Enzis route. So maybe it's 6 foot long, 19 inches wide. So it's a tricky one to kind of get your head around exactly what size break you're going to do the bags in, because you've got these short, wide boards, you've got these long, narrow boards, but you've also got short, narrow boards. So we've got a few ideas in the pan which will allow us to basically cover. Well, the plan is to cover pretty much every board, other than maybe say like the top extremity and the bottom extremity. If it's a 5'2" downwinding board that's 30 inches wide, it probably isn't. We're probably not going to have a bag for that one, but 85-90% of the downwind boards will hopefully fit in 4 different sizes of bags, if you see what I mean. So we'll have 4 bag sizes, and it's quite a cool concept. It's a bit of an adjustable board bag. You can change the length of it, and you won't be able to change the width, but we'll basically do it in a wide version, not a narrow version. I haven't come up with the name for it because the boards aren't narrow. Like a 20-inch board, it sounds narrow, but I wouldn't classify it as narrow. I'd just say it's narrower than the 24-inch board. Do you see what I mean? So we've got to work out how we'll do that. But yeah, 4 bags, which will basically cover every downwind board that's available on the mass market.
Okay. Are you guys kind of doing like Apple Tree where they make boards for other companies? Have you guys thought about doing that where, let's say, if you go to, I don't know, you go to KT, go to Armstrong, you go to these different companies, obviously they're getting their board bags made somewhere. Is that something you guys have thought of, or?
Yeah, so we've been approached by a few brands asking us if we would like logo our bags up for them. So far, we've kind of not really gone down that route. Like the goal with FBC is to try and be that independent brand where you can put any board brand into it, any wing brand. You should just put any board in. You'd be as happy to have, I don't know, any that brand in this bag or that brand in this bag, rather than some of the brands. Like it always seems a bit strange when a brand tries to have harnesses and wetsuits and bags and they're all under the same name. Because for me, like maybe I've got, I don't know, let's say fictionally, I've got an FBC board. Do I really want to put it in I don't know, a different bag that's made by another board brand? Whereas for us, it's a bag brand. And do you see what I mean? It doesn't give it's just adaptable.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the flexibility of it gives people, because I guess you're focusing on that entirely. So your bags are going to be better and better designed than other companies. I can see that for sure.
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't really want to talk about other brands, and sort of go, oh, don't do it like this or don't do it like that. But I guess what I'm getting at is like, if you've got a duotone board, you don't want to put it in an RRD bag, because that would be a bit. Do you know what I mean?
That'd be against the brotherhood or the sisterhood. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Whereas you can put a duotone board in the FBC bag or the RRD board in the FBC. Yeah, you're not cheating on them. Yeah, exactly.
You're not cheating on your spouse with another board bag. I understand.
Yeah, that's it. That's the plan. So, yeah.
Nice. So where can people across the world buy your bags? Is it retailer kind of chains, online? What are you guys thinking or doing?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in Europe and England, we're pretty well set up with distributors, sort of on mainland Europe, and obviously us being in the UK, we're here. We've all got stock. America's on the list. Like North America, we've had a few conversations with a few different people. I think, given like the global uncertainty that surrounds everybody at the moment, a few people have been burnt with overstocking. A few people have been burnt by taking on brands that maybe were promising more than they can deliver. So we're just sort of, we're pretty happy with how it's going. Well, super happy with how it's going. And Europe's obviously a big focus for us because it's so close. And yeah, like we get a lot of wind. And Germany, for example, is a huge market. And it's, Germany's definitely worth a lot of attention. Because what you could do in Germany, might do in, I don't know, sort of 15 other small countries. Do you know what I mean? So we're focusing on Europe and our domestic market. America's definitely on the list because I think you guys, North America's got a lot of windy but not windy spaces. Windy enough for foiling, not windy enough for kiting or windsurfing. I think that's how I read it anyway. How about you?
There's like, just looking across Canada, you got ocean on both sides. You got some Great Lakes on the kind of pretty much middle, and then southern US. You can go into Texas and stuff, and you got some stuff there in the Gulf. But then you got the whole western coast, which is amazing. You got into like Baja, which is once again a lot of windy stuff in there. Like I'm heading off to La Ventana for a couple months to work from there, and like hopefully we get some wind almost daily right now. They're pretty much on season. So there's quite a bit. And there's Hood River, Oregon, all that kind of stuff in there as well. So Columbia River, which gets super busy. So once you start adding up the spots, even the Great Lakes are phenomenal. You get some really, really good foiling, windsurfing there, kiting there. The communities are like, even in our small town, I think we have about 300 people in Ottawa, in the capital. But then you got all from Quebec City to Toronto. So like what is that, 6 to 8 hour drive. We'll drive to Sandbanks for like Ontario for a big day. So it's pretty cool. I'll drive 6 hours in a day to get a good session there. If it's looking 20 to 25, head higher. So like, it's definitely, I think we have more people than we think, because it was anticipated. Well, it's not ocean, but you get out into Lake Ontario, for example, and it's like 8-foot swell, 10-foot. My neighbor's been out in 18, 20, and I was on shore because it was like 3.3 to 2.9 to 2.7, and I was like, I'm too small of a guy. I can't hold down. I can't hold it down. But there are some sizable conditions out here for sure as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also the other thing I think, like with North America, is you've got like good community, but you've got a motivated sort of shop base as well. Like I was trying to buy something that you can't get in Europe right now to test it out, and like the sort of the websites of that you guys have got, the retailers they're doing a smart job. You know, it seems like they're on it. And they're making great videos, you know, product videos, product review videos. There's a lot of content coming out of North America for that, much more than's coming out of Europe and everything.
That's good to hear. Yeah, we got some solid shops in Canada. You got like 3 or 4 or 5 shops out of Quebec, which are good. Ontario's pretty decent. You got a couple in Manitoba, and then you got some stuff in Alberta. You got some stuff in BC. Overall, fairly impressed. In Oregon, you got so many shops there. And they're like Big Winds and all those guys, like they're putting out some super good stuff. Can't forget Cape Hatteras as well. Hatteras and stuff down in North Carolina. You got some super awesome stuff there for anybody looking to learn. That's a beauty spot. I see what you're saying. Yeah, good content and good stores as well. And that's the nice thing about using that retail network and trying to keep things a little bit offline. What are your thoughts on that versus just direct sales? Obviously, you save a few percentages, but do you find it impacts the grassroots community or even the prices? Or
I think you gotta support your shops. That's for sure, and you have to have a wholesale price list. Like for me, shops are an absolute fundamental part to the sport, and like as I was growing up, you know, it's the shop that you sort of go and see, and it's those guys that you get all your little snippets of gems that take you to that next level. So yeah, like big fan of shops. We will always sort of look and support them, and there'll always be the opportunity for shops to, and we would always favor shops as well. You know, like you say, direct sales, whatever. But you know, if you can push it for a shop, it's much better. I really like it when you see shops getting behind products or sports. For me, that's like really, really important. If they're proactive, they're on Instagram, they're promoting, they're doing all that, is just that's gold, isn't it? Because if they're not into the sport and they're not, nobody does our sport to get rich, I suppose is what I'm getting at. You know, it's you should do it for the love of it, and you should do it because you enjoy it, and because like what we were saying right at the very start, you know, that feeling of skimming along the water, whether it's on a windsurfer or whether you're flying above it on a foil, there's nothing else like that, and that's why you should be in this industry. That's why you should be selling the gear. That's why you should be totally full on 100% froth factor, because you just love that feeling, not because you like to sit behind a desk and, you know, watch web orders come in or something like that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, no, the whole goal of this is to help. I guess it's our little piece, right, to make the world a little bit of a happier and healthier place. In saying that if you feel this way, hopefully you're going to carry into other aspects. You'll carry it into fatherhood. You'll carry it into all these different things, which makes sense, right? Because that's stoke over share price or over pushing that. So that I understand, and that completely makes sense to me. Is there anything else you wanted to cover? Kind of answered all my questions about board bags. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I had a couple of them coming in. It was like, I don't know, man. all these things. What makes a good day bag, foil travel bag, all this stuff. Thanks for answering that, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. It's a funny one, isn't it? Like, we've all got bags and we've all had bags. And it's not until you start getting down into the nitty gritties of bags that you kind of go, oh, I'd actually like this bag. I'd like that bag. You know, I'd like to have this on my bag. Like, why has it got that? And you're like, well, what? Probably because nobody ever really gave it too much time. They just said, make us a bag. So no, I mean, we do lots of leashes as well. Leashes are a good one. I mean, like, leashes are a big part of foiling, aren't they? Everybody's got a leash. Not everybody's got a bag, but everybody's got a leash. So
if not, your board floats down the lake. I've had that happen twice. Yeah. Oh my God. It's terrible. Fuck, man, it just takes off. There's no way you can get. So I was on the island this summer. My mom was down. I was giving her a lesson. It was like 13, 14 knots, right? So I was like, forget it. I gave her my waist leash. It's fine. You can have it. There's no way I'm falling. It's super easy. So I'm tacking back upwind, like going slowly back upwind. Something happens. I happen to fall. And then sure enough, the wing flips over and lands on the board and pushes the board just out of reach. And you know when your leash gets caught in your trailing edge and it's around you and you're all tangled? And I was like, come on. So I couldn't get around it, sure enough. And then the board is always like a foot away from your fingertips. You're like, if I swim really hard, I can get it. But it just took off. And I had, thankfully, it did not go to an outflow that night. And I found it the next day in a sandbar at 7 a.m. after I had freaked out and hardly slept because it was like $6,000 in the center of a lake, and the lake is so big that I was super fortunate to have found it. But yeah, so anyways, that's where leashes are extremely important. So what kind of leashes do you guys make, and what do you think makes a good wing foil leash?
Oh, just making it work. Just making ease of use is, for leashes, ease of use and strength. That's the two things, isn't it? Needs to be easy to use. All that, like all those little annoying things that happen. So like our waist belt leash for the boards got a big loop sewn into it so that it can't go through the buckle. So rather than having to thread it back through the buckle, it's got like a Dyneema buckle on it. Rather than having to thread it back through and mess about, it always just stays as one big loop. So you step in it, pull it up around your waist, tighten it up, Velcro it down, done. And when you take it off, you do the same. Whereas some of them don't have that big loop, which then means that they come unthreaded, and then you got to mess about threading it up and all that. So yeah, like with the leashes, it's all just been like full on. Let's make them as strong as we can and as easy to use as possible. Less fast, the better. And actually on a, so I don't know if you've had it, but on the, you know where the leash attaches to the leading edge, it's got like that little bit of 3mm rope on it, right? Some people, if you get absolutely smashed big time, that bit of 3mm rope can pull out the leading edge. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. So we came up with a system that attaches to that leading edge loop, but it's got a safety loop which attaches to the leading edge handle as well. So if you do get, it was a bit techie to kind of devise it, but there's a video online and on how it works. But yeah, so if you rip that out, you've always got that secondary security that it's on that front handle, that's pretty popular. I think we're kind of like, touch wood. Well, probably not now, because if anybody's listening to this that designs leashes, they might decide to do it as well. But yeah, we're like the only ones that are doing that, and it's a good little, because it sucks when you get out there. And I've actually had it, not ripping the leash out like that, but I've had it where I was doing a downwinder and I got the phone to take some photos, and I just let go of the leash by accident, and the wing, it goes, doesn't it? It disappears. You can't catch it. And you're just like, oh God damn it. And so then, yeah, luckily I was with some people and they went and jumped on it, but so leashes breaking or ripping out of wings, you just don't want that. You just don't need that, and you just don't need that in your winging day. So yeah, that's when it comes to leashes. That's how we sort of make them tough.
I guess jumping onto your website, you got your wing waist leash, you got a wing wrist, you got a board waist leash. You got the Rad series. So you got the wing waist leash, wrist wing, board waist. Okay. Is there a difference between the regulars and the Rad? Is it just you got a little funky balls colors? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened. So, yeah, Bulls and I were sort of saying like the cool thing about our sport is that it's just fun. But the uncool thing about our industry is it kind of has a tendency to be really corporate, and the colors can kind of be a bit boring. So we wanted to make something. So like we got, like you said, like you touched upon earlier, the Bulls, the Rad bag, which we've actually just done a travel bag in that as well, which we're going to sort of be releasing.
Oh, sweet!
And it's just it's super bright, like 1980s retro ski color. That was the inspiration for it.
Sick.
Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. Let's like loud and proud. And yeah, it's just fun, isn't it? You know,
it is. It is a good looking board bag. So for those at home, it's foilboardcompany.com/rad/or-series. But you can go to the foilboardcompany.com website, check this stuff out. You got balls right there, front row center. And yeah, you got some cool pinks and blues and yellows. And that's, straight out of the 80s, man. That's pretty cool.
Fresh out of the 80s.
Well, brother, is there anything else you want to touch on, or was that pretty good for today? What are you thinking?
No, that's cool. Well, no, thank you for like reaching out and having a chat. It's a cool thing to do. We've been listening to your podcast in the office actually. So,
nice.
It's
I'll
cool.
I'll let the boys know.
Tune in. Yeah, although I said to the guys, I was like, oh, they've had all these legends on here. And why do they want to talk to me?
Man,
this is normal.
I have never seen a bag like this, and like the second I saw it, I was like, man, like this would make my life, like a backpack carry bag that I could have my foil in to walk down my little wooded path. Yes, it might hit a person, but it might hit a tree, but I still think it would be super sick to have. So
as long as you're conscious of the person that's around you, it's absolutely fine. Then you can carry it all day long. But I wouldn't get on the tube with it. Do you know what I mean? Because you might end up doing some time in prison.
Well, it's no different than carrying like a 400 centimeter mass cut in two, right? So you're 200 and you're carrying it on your shoulder or skis. And you're like, hey, mate, what's going on? And you turn and like with your big ski tips and stuff that are super sharp. Like we're kind of used to that over here with snow because you're like, yeah, we got to be conscious of when we turn around. So that's why I didn't really think about that. But if you could put a disclaimer, like, you know, like long, whatever, you could figure it out. But
if you're thinking of turning around, just think before you turn.
And for those who are looking to get a hold of you, order bags off of you, and check out your website, what's your website and Instagram and all that kind of thing?
So it's all like you said earlier, it's all just on the foilboardcompany.com. So all of our contact details and Instagram and those sort of bits are on there. So that'd be cool if people can check it out if they've got a minute, and also like feel free to email us with any thoughts or ideas because we're super lucky at home. I've got sort of three good buddies they're all clever dudes. They're all professional people. They all wing like that's their life. It's not their job, but it's what it's if it's windy, they're winging, and they give us the best feedback. For practical about the bags, about the leashes. They like this, they don't like that. This buckle was good, that buckle was good, whatever. And that's really what we're about. We're not just kind of like we're doing it our way and that's it. We really feed off the feedback that we get. So if anybody is out there and they're using our product and they have some feedback to give us, and my email address, like happy to give it out. Just email me. It's just Murray, MURRAY and then the company's Win, so WIN, and then Driven, DRIVEN .co.uk. And if you've got any good feedback or or criticism. We've got broad shoulders. We could take a bit of criticism. Then just tap us up with it, and we'll try and do a better job with the next run.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Mary. Well, thanks for coming on today. You guys are board bag legends, so of course we'd want you on here. So, thanks for joining us, and I'm sure we're going to talk soon. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you have to let me know about that board that you've got. We'll send you some front fins for it as well if you've only got the rear.
Yeah, that would be sick, actually. Yeah, I'll I just have it packed for an upcoming trip, so I'll take some pics and I'll send it over. But
yeah, just WhatsApp them over. I think you've probably got the scorcher in the back by the sounds of it. I think it's probably a 20 centimeter scorcher, which is that's like the good tri-fin one.
Okay.
So we've just actually made a set of scorcher fronts which pair up really well with that rear fin. So just ping us a WhatsApp and let me know like the sizes and stuff, and we'll send some over for you.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you next time.